A new poll now finds that most voters want to revisit the high-speed rail project. For more, let's bring in our NBC Bay Area political analyst, Larry Gerston. Larry, is it safe to say some sort of buyer's remorse here?
Well, if you believe the numbers, I tell you, that field poll you're talking about, Raj, shows that voters want a second look at that idea of funding high-speed rail. Now, you might remember that the voters approved nearly a $10 billion package, a bond package in 2008 by a margin of 53% to 47% to kickstart that project. But guess what? Now, by an overwhelming 2-to-1 margin, they want to go back to square one. And not only do they want a second look, but voters are now very inclined to deny approval of a bond by a margin of nearly 2-to-1, and that's quite a turnaround in just 3 years.
All right, Larry, let me play devil's advocate here. So I approve something that costs $100. The next day, someone's telling me it's going to cost $200. The price tag is going up on this thing, right?
Yeah, you're right. There are two factors, and that's one of them. Two factors seem to be at play. First, yes, the estimates have increased by that high-speed rail cost. Now the price tag going from $43 billion, to $98.5 billion. Remember, this was all 3 years ago to go to that kind of a price range, okay? And the project is likely, by the way, to take up to a decade longer before the system is built out. Okay, that's one. Second, the federal government, we can't forget them, once thought to be a major funder of this effort. Guess what? Now they're much less likely to provide anywhere near the difference, especially in this era of budget cutting, which would leave even more financial pressure right here on the state of California.
Okay, a lot has changed in the last 3 years, so what's going to happen now? Where is this likely to go?
Well, you can imagine the pressure that's going to build on the legislature when it returns to work in about 4 weeks. On the one hand, you have the promise of, tens of thousands of jobs. On the other hand, you have the fear of the state being left with a bill the size of an entire year's state budget. Then again, there's the obvious. How can the legislature continue to proceed with this kind of project in the face of huge budget cuts, the next round of which will take place in a few weeks due to those revenue shortfalls? You put this all together, and it will be very, very difficult to imagine the high-speed rail leaving any station.